Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is my second demo, and I'm excited. I'm going to have a lot of fun tonight. We're going to turn a pepper grinder. And this is kind of a personal thing with me because I was terrified of it for about 3 years before I just finally decided to sit down and figure out what was going wrong with everything I was trying. Um, so as Dane said, this is my way of turning it. Everybody's got their way. I was trying to come up with something that was just step by step by step that I didn't have to think twice about, and I think that's what I ended up doing. Um, this is something I do most of my work with um, a roughing gouge. You can do a standard spindle gouge, you can do a bowl gouge, whatever you're comfortable with. You can do a skew. I'm not there with the skew yet. So whatever you're comfortable with, use it. Carbide. This is a good project for carbide use. Um, and this is what we're going to go for. This is one I turned for my wife last year for Christmas. And I like the more modern, simple form. I don't like to get really complicated because I'm not a great spindle turner. But I've had some customers that shows remark about the fact that they like the modern look rather than a lot of the beads and stuff like that. And so that's what I'm sticking with, and that's what we're going to do tonight. So let's see here. Yep, I got everything ready to go. Um, so right off the bat, I do want to say always, 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 always wear a mask. If you're not wearing a mask, don't turn. I always wear a respirator. I have a peak power cap. I can't wear it tonight because you'll never hear me talking. So I'm going back to the old. This is my favorite mask to wear when I'm not wearing a respirator. So I'm wearing that. No rings, no watches. My hair is in a
Very good.
ponytail out inside of my smock.
Yep, got the
So
ponytail tucked in. Yep.
yeah, it's so tight up here, it's shiny. So
Yes, it is. We must
so
use the
if we
same
can,
barber.
so if we can switch then to my lathe view, I got to move this
Gotcha.
back down. I had it up so I could easily mute it. And let's see, get that centered.
Looks good right there.
Okay. Alrighty. So get my mask on. Okay, you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I am going to, I generally will turn at 1500 when I'm doing this kind of work, and that's what I've got the lathe set on right now. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to turn this thing round, and then I'm going to make a tenon and put it on the chuck, and then I'll continue with the turning. And if you notice, while I'm doing this, I've got this anchored into my waist, and I'm holding this down with my hand, my left hand, and I've got this at about a 45-degree angle, so I'm riding the bevel. I didn't mention, I'm starting out with a 3x3 piece of cherry. I generally like to go with a 2 3/4, but this was all I could find. We are almost there. Look at this. Oh, almost. think we're round enough for now. And turning is nice and messy. That's half the fun of it. So now I'm going to make a tenon for my chuck. By the way, I'm using a Bedan for this. This is my favorite tool for this. Almost there. Okay. Get the chuck on. Now the pepper mill we're making is going to be 8 inches tall. And for that, I will generally start out with a 10-inch long blank. That just gives me a little extra room to work with. Let's see how this is. Beautiful. Well, I'm going to mark my 8-inch point right there. And then on the pepper mill, on this particular design that I have, I generally will go with, here, let me move this just a little bit. I will generally go with 2¼ inches at the bottom, 2¼ inches at the top, and 1¾ inch in the center at the 4-inch mark. And we'll be getting to that in a minute. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my calipers to 2¼ inches. And because of sanding, I'm going to stop just short of that 2¼ inches. So we'll get the Bedan going again. I'm just making sure the bottom is level. And now we're going to go there's 2¼ helps to be a butterfinger.
Okay. I also want to point out something. I hope everybody saw how I was holding these when I was checking this while it was running. I held it like this. Get in the camera view. Never like this. Never like this. I saw a video of a gentleman who used to hold it like that, and he has 3 less fingers now. And it was a pretty horrific thing to see. So if you're going to check your tenon sizes and things like that, always keep it so it can be pulled out of your hands without causing any serious damage. Okay then, so what I'm going to do here is I got to change some things around here. I want to drill my center main hole. I don't know why I did that. That step comes later.
Because it's a demo, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the lighter
Or for
didn't light. Okay.
Jeff, did you say what type of wood that was?
Yes, cherry.
Cherry. Okay.
Cherry, walnut, and maple are my favorite woods to work with. Cherry especially. It's just gorgeous when you get a finish on it. So, so the drill bit I'm going to use is a Forstner bit 1 1/16 inch. And I don't know the reason for that. They always tell you they're very specific about that. And my thing is, if you did a 1 inch, you're going to make the spigot so it fits kind of snugly in there in the first place. So you don't have to get too crazy about 1 1/16 inch or anything like that if you can't find one. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down exactly 6 inches. And I have that marked on my drill bit extension. Let's just, that would help. Yep. Yeah. Had it marked and now the mark is gone. Demos. Oh, let's make a 6 inch mark right there. And I'm going to drop the speed down to 500. That's generally the speed I always use for drilling and sanding. It's like watching Halloween. Isn't it fun? Cherry is also a nice wood to work with because it's not so hard that it restricts you from doing what you need to do. It's a fairly easy wood to work with. We are almost there. Well, I can tell I'm not wearing my respirator. There's the 6-inch mark. Okay then. So at this point, I believe what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this down all the way across to the 2 1/4 mark. So I want to get this on. Get a cone on. And we're going back up to 1500. And we're taking her down. Almost there. Okay. We are now at 2 1/4 inches. I'm going to grab my scribe. We're going to mark the 6-inch mark. And then I generally like to go about 5/8 of an inch for the spigot. Okay. Let's get some of this other stuff out of the way. Is the marker? Okay, then the next thing I want to do is I want to create the spigot, which I'm going to set at 1/16. So this is roughly about the same size as a hole, and I'm going to go just a little bit larger so I can sneak up on it. Now, if we don't get it all the way down to size yet, it's not a big deal because we're going to be parting this off. I just want to make sure I don't go so deep that it goes flying off on me. That's good. And I got this cute little parting tool. I got it from a friend's estate who passed away. I don't know where he found this thing at, but I just love this. So, there we go. We are separated.
What's the spigot for, Jeff?
This is going to go down into the body when you put the two pieces together.
Thank you.
Here. See? That just keeps the head from moving all over the place when you're using it. And this is not going to be too bad to clean up. That actually came out pretty clean. So I'll just take some 60 grit here. And we've got that. And then we're going to clean this up and bring this down to size so that just slides onto it without being too snug and without being too loose. And I'm kind of going at an angle so as I come in, it's getting a little wider. So I'm kind of sneaking up on it. Now I'm going to straighten it out a little bit. This is one thing that you got to be careful with because it can get away from you real quick, especially at these speeds. If you're more comfortable with it, some people will get it close and then they'll sand it down. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yeah, see, that's like at a point where I might just take some 60 grit and sand it. Okay, so it's right. It's perfect. This has got to come in a little bit on the inside. I think I'll use my thinner parting tool for that. Okay, come on. There it is.
Looks like a good
So
fit.
now we got the two. Beg your pardon?
Looks like a good fit.
Yeah, nice. That's where you got to be really careful at because that can, it looks perfectly straight until you go to put that on. So that's where sandpaper comes in handy. And I don't know if any of you noticed, but I screwed up here. I was about an 1/8 inch too short. So I'm going to play with this as we design this and make it make it work.
Yeah, you got lots of room there.
Yep. I saw an interesting interview with the actor Michael Caine today, and he was talking about his early days in the theater, and he was having problems with a particular scene because one of the props wasn't in the right place, and he was told make the difficulty work. And I just thought that was a great piece of advice: make the difficulty work, and that's exactly what he did. Now, I also have one little mess up here again too, in that I should have drilled that out the larger size. So I'm going to do that right now, and I'm glad I caught that before I did any final sanding. Let's put it right there. Where? We'll have a couple marks to work out of there, but we got some room to work with. This is an older Nova DVR XP, so unfortunately it doesn't have auto eject anywhere. So the one thing I forgot to do before I drilled this hole is I should have drilled a 1 5/8 inch hole, a 1/2 inch in. So I am going to do that now. Yeah, I got that tight enough. Nope. Well, that chewed it up real good.
You got it.
What did I do? There it is. There we go. That should do it for us. So I'm going to take it nice and slow to get started. Almost there. There's a half inch. I'm going to do a little sanding here because that got eaten up a bit. I'm just using a 60 grit here. And then going to an 80, and we'll see how she looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to just do the inside a little bit, and then I'm going to run through the grits real fast just to get that smooth so I don't have to come back to it. And I'm just using an 80 for this. $60, 80, 120. 240. 320. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, back to the original plan. Now what we're going to do is, man, I hit that perfect the first time. We're going to get this just a friction fit. So that we can now get this to our final form. Let's see. That's that. So we're going to mark this at 4 inches, which is the halfway point. We'll take this back to 2¼ inches. Just to make sure we're where we want to be. Yep. I'll take a little off there. That just gives me a point of reference to work with. So now, what I'm going to do, I can't seem to hold on anything. I'm now going to set my center point for 1 3/4. And I'm going to part at the 4-inch mark right here down to 1 3/4 inch. don't like the way that's bouncing, so we'll do it this way. If you don't feel comfortable doing something, the real simple solution for that is simply don't do it. That was bouncing a bit, so I didn't feel comfortable with sticking the gauge down in. Perfect. That's right where I want it. So now we're going to do the final shaping. And we're simply going to be tapering out to the widest point. I'm trying to take very little off the ends. And I'm trying to keep, looking at the horizon here, I'm trying to keep that straight. You can do anything you want as far as design. My goal here is to keep it straight. Okay, there's just about a 32nd of an inch left there. I don't think you can see it because of the light. I'm just leaving that there as a marker so I don't go too thin. And most of that will come off with the sanding. A little bit of a bulge here. There we go. Go this way. Okay. So we got our basic shaping done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sand. Before I do that, I'm going to take this little parting tool and mark out the top. Okay. I'm going to clean off this a little bit. Okay, sanding time. Now, I'm the kind of person, the reason I'm a turner is because I'm impatient. That's why I'm not a furniture maker or a flatboard worker. So I'm a big proponent of power sanding. And I'm going to start out real quickly with a piece of 60 grit, just because I got some tool marks here that I'm not crazy about. So I'm going to drop the speed down to 500 again. And I'm just going to run through the grits along with sanding lengthwise with the lathe stopped. We're at 500 again. I can see the tool marks going away nicely. Okay. That looks pretty good. Set that there. Now I'm going to sand by hand, back and forth. This little pad, by the way, I got this from Vince at Vince's Wooden Wonders. He's got them in 2 and 3 inch, and this thing is wonderful. It lets me get things done fairly quickly. And unlike a pen where you're working with a lot of really detailed scratches, I don't seem to get a lot of that here. So it's fairly quick. Okay, next is 80. The other thing I'm missing here is I generally will have a dust hood right here. But if I had that going, you'd never be able to hear me. Okay, well, there's that. And 80. There's also most of the stuff I'm taking here tonight. I'm going through fairly quickly because, you know, this is something, especially if it's the first time you're doing it. I think my first one took me close to 3 hours to get done. After that, it wasn't so bad. And then what I'm going to do here tonight is I'm going to take it up to 320. So I have one more grid after this. Oh, this has got some pretty green in it. That. I'll set that off to the side for now. Well, there we go. The shaping is done. So now what we're going to do, get this out of the way. Sometimes you'll have a little bit of discoloring. So what I'll do is I'll just take some 60 real quick and get that out of there. That's from the aluminum on the cone. Other thing you could do is a company called Rubber Chucky that makes rubber chuckies for just about everything. And you can get a cone chucky that will fit in there without leaving any marks of any kind. So now we're going to, now let's do this. We're going to part off the head. I just want to check something real quick here. Okay. It's a hair over 2, but that's going to be fine. Um, Right there it is. I have places in my shop that I just reach to get things. It's all around me. And so I've got everything right here on the side right now. And it's kind of throwing me off. And I'm just getting warning that my battery is going on my headphones. So I may have to switch
Uh-oh.
to a live mic soon. Well, I've got about a half inch on there. So the rest of the way I'm going with this little saw that I got from Lowe's. And I think they got them at Harbor Freight too. Can you still hear me okay? Because I'm getting beeping in my ear.
No, you sound great.
Okay. There we go. So that's
So glad
off.
you turned the lathe. So glad you turned the lathe off before you started cutting that.
Yeah. I saw a video of a guy using a saw with the lathe
Yes,
running.
I know. It's horrendous.
Scary people out there.
Yes.
So I'm switching over to a chuck that's got these pin jaws on them. And they'll grasp a hold of the spigot with no problem. And this is just to clean up the end here. I can probably do that by hand. That's too fast. Let's take it down to 750. Let's do this. All right. Hey, Dane,
Yes.
my iPad view, can you unmute that one? And I'm just going to
Yes.
switch over to the microphone in it.
Okay. Well, no, I can't unmute it. You got to unmute it yourself.
So hold on a second. Let me change my volume stuff here.
Okay. And I muted your lathe view already.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we just lost you.
You lost me?
We
I was
lost
probably
the
switching
lathe-
off these.
We lost the lathe view. You signed off. You have to restart the Zoom link.
Okay. Let's do this real quick then. What it did, it had a warning up there for the headphones running out of power. So, there we go. Okay, let's bring way down here. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes,
Okay, you can go back to the lathe view then.
will do. Got it.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to go back to a drill. So I got our steps here. So I'm going to attempt to drill from the top inward. Ought to be interesting. I should have done this before I parted it off. It's looking pretty square, so 500 RPM. This is how I drill on my 10 blanks. When you're doing production, it's a lot of fun after about the fourth blank. Perfect. So now we're at the point of assembly. Hey, when you have this big old hunk of iron, magnets
You'll
are a
need
wonderful
you'll
thing.
need to speak up. Speak up, Jeff.
I'm sorry, I had my hood down. Actually, for what I'm doing, I can take this off. What we're going to do now is we're going to do the drilling and mounting of the hardware. Start off with, I'm going to take the one piece, push it down in to mark the holes.
Jeff, what is the kit that you're using? Are you using a specific kit?
You know, I normally use what is it? Chef Specialties. I
Crush
almost
grind.
always use those. This is a kit that I found. I think somebody gave it to me, and I didn't have any of my Chef Specialties in stock, so I've got them on order. They didn't come in, so I've got the 2 points marked. Now for this, we've got these little tiny, very soft screws that hold this in place. So I don't like to make the hole really tight. We lose the lathe view again?
Yeah. It's gone. It's not on the list anymore.
Really?
So it's like the phone shut down.
You know, my phone just rebooted. Isn't that
Yeah,
weird?
imagine that.
More demo-itis stain.
Yes, demoitis. That's what I'm going to call it from now on.
Demoitis, yeah.
I really like that term.
right? Hey, I'm good for something every week. May not be worth paying for, but I'll throw it out
Apparently, that's my middle name now.
there.
I have
Hey, Jeff,
videoitis.
Jeff, while you're waiting for your phone to boot up,
Yep.
can you speak to the difference between using the metal, hot metal type grind mechanisms compared to the
Oh, yeah.
porcelain
Yeah. If you use,
ceramic grinds, and
so
the reason why one is better than the other?
yeah, you can make grinders for salt and pepper. If you use the metal pepper ones, they'll work fine for a period of time. After about a year, they'll start to corrode up because of the salt. So they make a special ceramic grinding mechanism for salt
Right.
grinders. Everything goes together exactly the same way as a pepper grinder. It's just a different mechanism in there. And I don't know why my phone is doing this.
It's because
But,
it's
so
Wednesday
that-
night and you're the spotlight.
Yeah, right.
You got a break on your first demo because everything went exactly as planned.
Right.
But that's okay. That's what we do. We roll with the punches here. Whether we miss a step, we show how we can recover from missing a step to, rebooting a phone or a tablet to get the streaming back on par.
So my phone's gone completely dead. And it seems like
It's a good thing the lathe turning is done, eh?
yeah. I'm trying to see why, because my tablet has no power either.
Always keep them plugged in.
Okay, so let's do this. Off. Okay, give me a second here. I'm going to get a cord plugged in. I think my power strip went bad of all things.
You got that 0-1 flipped on the correct direction?
Yep.
You want to just rotate that view down?
Yeah. My concern is that my tablet will go dead. Let me play around with this for one more second. I have no idea why I'm not getting power. That is bizarre. Power strip here is not power. No problem. Okay, so let me do this. Get this out of the way. Get. How's that?
Yes, that works.
So as I said, I use it because they're so small. I don't want to have to really torque these hard to get the screws in. So for this particular, I always check holes out on a scrap piece of paper first because you get one shot at it with these screws. So this is a 3/32. That lined up. Okay. Indent there, so. So now I will generally put it together with the full mechanism assembled.
Would
This
you
is
finish
really,
the end? Would you
What's
put any
that?
finish on the, would you
I
put
did
any
not.
finish on,
I did not put any finish on it for tonight.
would you normally
I would
do
use
that?
Axe finish.
Okay.
That's my favorite go-to finish.
No, I mean on the inside.
No, I don't. I just leave that bare because, you don't, this is something that's going on people's food.
Yep.
So now I use a #1 Phillips. You don't want to use a #2 because these heads are soft too. And you also don't want to use one of these because there's just not enough width there to get some good torque on it. And it's just going to tear up your hand.
You should always use the correct size Phillips. for
And
your
I
screws
push down
inside.
on the screw to keep the Phillips from skipping and tearing up the head. So there's one. Come on, go straight. Snap up a little bit. There we go. And these screws are about, let's say, 1/2 inch long. You want to make sure you get them straight. So there's the mechanism in. Now we're going to put the metal plate on the top. Normally I spend a lot more time with the sanding, but for the sake of time here tonight, I just line this up as much as possible with the naked eye, mark it with a pencil. That's a good mark. And drill it straight in. Start out slow until you get a bite. And then it's just rinse and repeat, as they say. Same thing. We're going to put these 2 screws in using a #1. Almost there. There we go. I also wouldn't recommend, even if you're using a #1 Phillips tip, I wouldn't recommend doing this with a driver. It's just too much power. It's going to end up stripping it. Then this goes in like that. Yeah. Good tight fit.
There's no spring with that kit, is there?
Yeah, and you know what's happened? I have made this a hair too long. Yeah. Okay. We're going to fix that real quick.
Rotate your camera towards the headstock.
Yes, I will do that.
Perfect.
So I'm going to take a little bit off the top here.
Where you got about 3/8 of an inch to take off.
Actually, the bottom's at 6 inches. This is at 2 3/16. So I'm going to take off about 3/16, and we'll see how that looks. Pass back on. This.
Jeff, were you using your Badan or a parting tool?
I was just using a regular parting tool. Regular parting tool.
Okay.
See how that works now. Oh, much better. So it protrudes
go.
out about 1/8 of an inch, and you got a little bit of play with, but I usually like it about 1/8 of an inch out of the top. So what happened is I had 3/16 of an inch on top, and then the top domed just a little bit, and I didn't see that. So there's your screw that tightens it up. And I don't know if you can see it here or not, but I'm going to bring it in and tighten it up some more. So that adjusts the grind on it. And then
we didn't get to see the screw. All right, there's the screw.
Yep. That's it.
Very cool. Look at that. Great
Very
demo,
nice, Jeff.
Piece of cake, right?
Piece of cake.
Jeff.
No,
Good demo,
it's a piece of cake. It's a piece
So-
of cake, and it's not a piece of cake.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
So, in closing, even with the little things that we had here, those of you who are not sure about whether or not you can do this or not, you can. Look at my mouth's coming
Most
apart now.
certainly can. Just work through it. There's nothing to be scared
that
about.
was very enjoyable.
Any questions?
It's a great demo, Jeff.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it a lot, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Where do you buy your kits, Jeff?
What's that?
Where do you buy your kits?
Chef Specialties online. They sell all kinds of grinders, but they got a section on their website where you can buy the mechanisms. So people, Chef Specialties, people will get their grinders and they'll use them for 20, 30 years. Well, the mechanisms will wear out. So they sell the mechanisms. And they start at about $17 and go up. They're not the cheapest, but they're mechanisms that were designed with input from chefs themselves on getting the best piece of equipment they could. And so they're about the best out there. If you don't want to go that kind of expense, you can go about half that. Woodcraft makes a pretty good kit. There's also a new type out there called a crush grind, where you don't have the knurled button on top. I've got a couple of them. I haven't made any yet.
I like the crush ring.
I get mixed reviews from people. Some guys hate them, some don't. So I'll play around with it and see. But
So Jeff, we got a question on your drill extension. Can you show that and talk about that, and then also your caliper gauge, if you can show that and talk about it as well. There was a little
that's
bit of
my
action.
drill extension. I got this off of Amazon many years ago. It's got a 3/8 inch opening on it and 2 Allen heads to lock everything down. So what was the other thing you wanted to see?
The caliper gauge that you're using to set your diameters for your calipers.
Right there.
No,
This is Bras.
No, not the calipers, the gauge that you're using to set
gauge?
your diameters.
You talking this?
Nope.
Your center finding gauge.
Your center
The
finder.
Rockler center finding gauge.
That's what you're.
Yeah, the caliper / center finding gauge.
The center.
It's black. It's black. You were putting your calipers on there to determine your diameter.
That's what I was using.
No, the thing you were using to set the calipers.
What was the?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I never knew what it was called. It's a center finding caliper gauge. Look at that. That's
There are links to this. There are links to this in the chat, guys.
Yeah.
So save the chat.
Yes, correct. I just wanted him to show it, a full-on view of it. Because, you really couldn't see it, but some of us picked up on it.
And they're pretty accurate too, probably within a 32nd of an inch. The Rockler store by me's always got this in stock. So if you've got a Rockler by you, you won't have to worry about, mail order or anything like that.
Yep.
No.
Very cool.
Any other? Huh?